Hi guys, let's continue our discussion with the next topic, that is residual income, RI residual income. So just a small update here. So in your material you might see this particular line. In this case, although Toronto had the highest income and assets, Nairobi's residual income was more impressive when considering the opportunity cost of capital. Please strike that off. It is not relevant anymore. I'll explain what to write there instead of that. Okay, chalo. Let's start with this discussion. What is RI? Residual income. Residual means leftover, as I told you earlier. So first of all, every business has an expected rate of return, which is called required rate of return. So I wanted a 3% return, I wanted a 5% return, I wanted 10% return. So whatever is left over after this achieved after this expected rate of return, that leftover is called residual return, right? That is called residual income. See here, residual income is another metric which is used to evaluate the performance of the investment centers. But unlike ROI, sir, ROI is a percentage number. Unlike ROI, it focuses on absolute dollar amount rather than a percentage. ROI is a percentage, RI is a dollar amount. RI measures the income remaining after subtracting the required return on the assets. So whatever you require on the assets, after subtracting that required return on the assets, whatever is left over is your residual income, right? See, this measure highlights whether an investment center has generated more profit than the minimum expected return on its assets. What is the minimum expected? And did that particular unit generate more than that or less than that, right? So if I just calculate, if I just show you how it works, RI. So a unit, its operating income, assets, required return, residual income. I can actually increase one more step there. Let me just do that. So required return percentage, required return dollar amount. Okay. All right. Sorry. OCD. Unit A, Unit B, Unit C. We have three units here. Unit A, B, and C. Let's say operating income 30,000, 25,000, and 50,000. Assets in the business are 300,000, 280,000, and 450,000. So required rate, let's say we wanted 5% return from all the units, or rather 6% return from all the business units. So required return in dollar amount would be assets investment amount into the required percentage. So we wanted 180, 16,800 and 27,800 from this particular units. Okay. Residual income. Sir, we wanted 18,000 but we got 30,000. 30 minus 18 is 12,000 is residual income. Similarly, we wanted 16,800 but we got 25,000, 8,200 residual. Or rather, what I'll do here is just to get 15,000. So here we wanted 18 but we got only 15. That means we got a residual income of negative 3,000, and here 8,200, and here plus 23,000. And now just for comparison sake, I'll also add ROI here. ROI is equal to operating income by assets. So 5%, 9% and 11%. Okay, chalo. So just for explaining you some point here, I'll try to tinker around with some of the numbers here. Just give me a moment. Or rather, I'll just do one thing. I'll create another unit D here, and that unit will have operating income of 50,000 on an assets of 200,000. 25. Okay. Okay. This is better. All right. So let's say this is the residual income calculation of. Okay. So let's say this is the residual income calculation for 4 units, unit A, B, C and D. How did I calculate? Operating income, assets and required return is given, percentage terms. So first I multiplied the assets value with the required return. So I'll get the required return in dollar amount and then subtract the required return from the operating income. 15,000 versus required 18,000. That means we had a shortfall of 5%. And 25,000 versus 16,500, we had a positive 8.2. 50 versus 27, 23, 30 versus 12, 18,000 positive RI, residual income. Now, if I see the residual incomes, which unit is giving me the highest residual income? Unit C is giving me the highest residual income, 23,000. So, if I look at RI, I'll just put RI. If I look at RI, unit C is the highest. If I look at ROI, unit D is having the highest ROI, 15%. Unit C has only 11%. So ROI says unit D is more beneficial than unit C, right? So RI says unit C is giving the highest dollar value, whereas ROI says unit D is giving you the highest percentage. So now you tell me which is more crucial for the business. A percentage number is more important or the actual dollar amount is more important for a business? Think and tell. Sir, if you are a business owner, do you want a higher percentage or do you want actual dollars to be higher? Any business would want actual dollar value, right? See here in unit C, we invested 450,000. Whereas in unit D, we invested only 200,000. So unit D is currently generating 15% on 200. But if we really increase this from 200 to 450, will unit D still continue to generate 15% returns? We don't know. We don't know. Right? So that is why, see, if I conduct an exam for 10 marks, a student might get 9 marks. But if I conduct the same exam for 100 marks, can you for sure tell me that he'll get 90 score by maintaining the same 90%? If I conduct the same exam for 1,000 marks, will he get 9,000? 900? That is a question here. So if the asset base is increasing, will the unit still continue to maintain its ROI? May or may not. So that is why business always looks at the dollar amount, which is RI. So in this case, if I have to choose one unit, I would say unit C. I would not go for unit D. Even though unit D is showing higher percentage, I would go for unit C because it is proven. A dollar amount is known there. Okay. Now look at the question, textbook and you can find out it's the same thing here. So the RI is operating income minus the total assets into required rate of return. So total assets into required rate of return, that is required return. So operating income is, if I just put like this here, okay, just in case if someone is wondering. If I call these columns A, B, C and D, so A, B, C, D, so D is calculated, required return is calculated as B into C, and then residual income is A minus D. That's what the formula is here. Total assets into required rate of return, that is subtracted from the operating income. This calculation forces the managers to consider the opportunity cost of capital, the return that could have been earned by investing the capital elsewhere at similar risk, blah blah blah. So some calculations are given and all. So you can now understand this see here the numbers did not support that statement, but here I created a different numbers to help you understand that statement. Sir, RI, in terms of RI, business unit D is more efficient and effective, but in terms of in terms of ROI, business unit D is more efficient and effective, but in terms of RI, absolute dollar value, unit C is giving you the higher dollar returns, right? So that is what this statement was. These numbers did not really support that statement, so ignore that mistake there. Chalo, next. This demonstrates the usefulness of RI in assessing the absolute profitability. Sir, absolute means dollar amount, it's not a percentage. Okay, now let's quickly go through the benefits and limitations, and in the next video we are going to start with the comparison between ROI and RI with a numerical example. So you can see there is alpha and beta, that example is also given, and with a conclusion is also given. All right. So there you go. Benefits of RI. What are the benefits? It encourages value adding investments. Sir, any investment which has a positive RI. I'm giving you single sentence. Any proposal that gives a positive RI means the returns are higher than what is expected. You should invest in that. End of discussion. No other thoughts to be there. Any unit that gives you positive residual income is a favorable proposal. Go ahead and invest if you have money. RI ensures that managers are motivated to pursue projects that generate returns above the required rate. Any positive residual income adds value to the company. Simple. It is generating more than what is expected. So go ahead and invest in that. And it focuses on absolute profit. We do not worry about a percentage number here. We look at the actual dollar values. So RI measures profitability in dollar terms, making it easier to access the true financial contribution of a business unit or a project to the overall business. How much is each unit contributing to the overall business in dollar terms? Tell me actual dollar value. And it aligns with the company's goals. What is the overall corporate goal? What is the overall company goal? Wealth maximization. RI talks about wealth. How much dollars are being added by each unit? How much value is added by each unit? So it is in line with the corporate goals. Sir, the limitations, comparison issues. Okay. Sir, can I compare two units based on their RI? You cannot. You cannot compare two units based on RI. Sir, can I compare these two and say that business unit C is doing better than business unit D? No, you cannot. Because this is 18,000 profit on 200,000 investment. This is 23,000 profit on 450,000 investment. How can you compare 23 and 18? Because the denominators are different. So RI cannot be used for comparison. You cannot compare two units. RI can be used for investment decisions. ROI can be used for comparison. So if I just put it here, where do I use RI and ROI? RI is used for RI is useful for investment decisions. ROI is useful for performance evaluation. Investment decision means positive RI. If any unit is giving a positive RI, invest. Simple. ROI. Higher ROI is equal to better performance. I hope you got the complete story with this sentence. With this table. Right? ROI is useful. Let me just metric ROI, RI. Useful for investment decisions and performance evaluation. Logic is that positive RI, invest, higher ROI is better performance. Done. Clear? Sure. Since RI is expressed in absolute terms, it may not be suitable for comparing, obviously. And required rate of return. So here, for ROI calculation, required rate is 6%. How do you know required rate is 6%? Can't I take 10%? Should I take 8%? That is subjective. The choice of the required rate of return can be subjective, and if not carefully selected, it may distort the evaluations. So suppose here, if I put required rate of return as let's say 10%. Now see what is happening. Unit A and Unit B are showing negative ROIs, negative residual incomes. So we might have to shut down that business. And here now, Unit D is giving me better residual income compared to Unit C. Earlier, when I wanted 6%, Unit C gave me the highest ROI, highest residual income. But if I wanted 10%, Unit D is giving me more residual income. So it all depends on this percentage that you are taking here. So we have to be very careful with the performance evaluation and the choice of the required rate of return percentage. Okay, chalo. So that is about the residual income. So in the next video, we are going to just quickly discuss about the ROI versus RI. There is nothing much here. I think I can just finalize that also. Let's just continue. See here, ROI versus RI. Just for the heck of it, let's do it as a separate video. Alright, I'll see you in the next lecture. Quick short comparison lecture, and then we'll wind up this topic. So I'll see you soon. Keep smiling. Take care. Bye bye.